the superpower of curiosity, the force that changes reality. So when we are curious, we are not just interested in things. It's not just about that. It's something that is really the very deep movement of life within the psyche. So it's an invisible force that really keeps the mind young and the heart open and the soul awake. So this is really something very, very important. Usually what happens is that when we are curious, we, we really are open to the reality, and we see the reality in a different way. So when I talk about reality, I mean that we can find out things that also we don't like, or we could be curious about pain, or we can understand and find meanings beyond this pain, or behind this pain. And we can really understand, we can go to a different level of experience of our life, can really understand meanings under what we discover. This is something really, really important. But actually, because of how our reality is built up, and why, because of how we grew up, the curiosity is something that could be dissipated. And so when curiosity dies, we cannot be aware of anything. We can walk in our reality, we can walk every day and not be aware of things. So especially when we are stressed, or when we are in pain, when we are really worried about things, we are living in our mind. We are not in the present moment. We don't see things, we don't feel things, we don't smell or taste things. We can walk outside and not see the beauty of what is around us. Everything becomes invisible. So, and we stop to see everything that is in front of us, and reality becomes a repetition. So we feel the same emotions of every time, the same relationships, the same fears that have maybe new appearance. Like let's say we can change context, we can change country, we can change maybe reality in terms of people, but things remain the same. Because actually we don't see the changes, we don't see anything. So curiosity is able to change reality, because really it changes how we look at it, how we look at reality, and allowed us to discover something totally new, something that we were not even expecting it was there. We could start to be curious after this event or tomorrow, and we will see a different reality that is built up around us. And we will be so surprised, because maybe we were going through the same path, or we were going to the same through the same way every day, but we were not able to notice specific things. We were not even maybe we didn't notice that there was a building over there, or that there was a shop over there. So reality is not really seen or perceived by us as it is, but it's always, we are always in our mind, and we're always living in a kind of bubble. So the reality can really change the way we look at something, as I was saying, and in psychological terms defines what it becomes inside of us. So the way we look at something can really modify the way we perceive that and the way we live it inside of us. So, uh, as I was saying, we are in an invisible bubble. We have been living in an invisible bubble for maybe all our life. So since we were children, and this bubble, as I was saying, it's invisible. It's it doesn't have walls, but it's built inside of us. We already have expectations. We have a simulation of the reality in our brain, in our inner life, and we work as a GPS. We go into the reality as if we already knew what the reality was without noticing anything. As I was saying, we are expecting exactly what the internal um, construction of the reality expects. So, as I said before, we tend to really find ourselves always in the same situations, and then we tend to say, "Why does this always happen to me?" And so we don't really understand why things are always the same for us. Why we are stuck in the same situation. We've been stuck in the same situation maybe for many, many years. Uh, and actually, the reason is this bubble. And we're going to understand what this bubble is, because obviously the bubble is a metaphor. It's not really that we are living in a bubble, but this bubble is inside of us. And we are going to, for the people that already attended my webinars already, they already know what I mean when I say bubble, because we've been talking about the schemas, and these schemas, I'm going to explain again what schemas are and why they make us living in a moment that seems to be always the same. So for our mind, what we have to understand is everything inside of the bubble could be even very painful or very bad or very negative. We could see the reality in a gray way. It could be really something flat or not nice, but at least it's familiar. At least we can expect what it is, and we can control that in some ways, or at least survive inside of that reality. So the thing is that our mind prefers to really stay in something that is known instead of living in the unknown, because the unknown is perceived by our mind, our brain, as dangerous. So we know the rules of this reality, and we know what to expect from this reality. So if we know what to expect from this reality, we can anticipate that, and we can in a certain way have the illusion of being able to control reality. So when I say that we have the illusion, it means that the absence of curiosity gives us put us in a position of not being able to really change our life. We live in the known. The unknown is dangerous, and then thing is that we have because we know that reality, we have the possibility to manage that reality, to survive into that reality. That is the most important thing. We can survive. We already did, and we will keep doing it. The unknown, we don't know what could happen in the unknown. So our nervous system is really, really activated when there's something that is new. So it's better for our nervous system to stay in what is controllable, manageable. So what is really dramatic is that uh, nothing can be changed in this inside of this bubble. Everything remains the same. So when I say that nothing changes, we know that if we look at ourselves in the mirror, we see ourselves, we are getting older, we are not the children that we were used to be many years ago, but in a certain way, so we recognize ourselves as the same persons, as the same, yeah, the same person. Maybe we have totally different people around, but actually, if we see what happened, is that we um, we have around us a reality that even if people are different, they are actually very similar, and we keep staying in a situation that is really similar, and we keep working in a situation that we keep living in a situation that is always very similar. If we change environment, if we, let's say that we move from one country to another country, we can perceive at the beginning something totally new. We can perceive that some things are different, not totally, but some things are different. Then slowly our brain, our mind really guides us to translate everything that is around us into the old language, into the old habit. Um, and so we start to see the reality around us actually as the old reality in which we were used to live before. We were talking about this when we had an event about expats, and we were talking about the fact that sometimes we feel the need to change country, to change reality, or to change a job, to change things, but then after a while we ended up in something really similar. And it's the same thing with relationships or with everything else. So we only allow what fits our old emotional world to get into the bubble. So everything remains the same. It's like living in the same moment forever. Um, and everything else is not seen or is cut out. So we live in a photograph, not in a film. We're not in a movie. So we are stuck in that photograph. And when the only thing that could really change that is curiosity, but in order to be curious, we need to cultivate curiosity. This is really difficult. And this is something that I already said to you. So before keep going, I want to remind that in just 40 minutes, you will, actually no, 10 minutes, you will already see, if you refresh the page, the link to go to Zoom after we finish this first part of the event. So we will meet for the second part on Zoom in a not video recorded area. So we are really, as human beings, we have a brain that is really like a computer that is always busy to edit the reality, and it's always cutting away things and always translating or painting things in a very similar way as it was before. So we have like a matrix inside of our our brain that really um, changes the reality in a specific way. So what I'm saying is that changes the reality. First thing that we change, that our mind, our brain changes, is the actually the reality inside of us. But then also the reality outside can change. And obviously we behave in a certain way. We tend to change slightly without being aware of things like, let's say, not talking, closing up, not watching, being in our mind, always thinking. And slowly everything starts to become always the same. So even if something nice could happen, then we will not see that, or we will perceive maybe at the beginning just for a few seconds, and then our mind will change it, will translate in something negative. So we live new events, but our mind recycles old meanings. So this is something really, really important. Um, mm, so this is why it's very, very difficult to change, um, because mm, we are not allowing ourselves to see new things that are actually happening. And this is something that happens not because we are bad or there's something wrong with us. There's a reason for that. But when we have the experience, we know that the bubble, when create these bubbles, and they seem perfect, and then puff, they disappear. This bubble actually doesn't disappear. It's always very, very rigid and always there. The only thing that can really create some cracks and break this bubble is the curiosity. So when we really train ourselves to go back to what we were when we were children, we start to be curious again, and then to really we start to really pay attention to different things, ask different questions to ourselves, to really guide our attention to different aspects of our reality. Usually we have so many cognitive distortions of what we are not aware at all. But if we learn to be curious and we train ourselves in a very disciplined way every day, we can start to really correct these distortions and be able to change reality and make cracks in this bubble. Start to see the reality outside of this bubble. Um, It's not about knowing the exact answer of things, but it's more about asking questions. It's more about having the really questioning attitude, and also we in that willing to look again, to see the things in a different way, then we can transform ourselves. We can start to change.